If you've been on this journey of transformation, trying to change your life, but you found yourself stuck, confused, lost, back at square one, triggered, feeling worse than ever, losing clarity, losing motivation, then this video is going to clarify a lot for you. In order to transcend the current level that you're at and break through to the next level in reality, you need to complete a full cycle of transformation. And transformation is not something that is a one-step process. In my opinion, it is a 4-phase or 4-step process. And most people never complete the full cycle of transformation because they get stuck in one or more of the phases that I'm going to explain to you today because they don't know what's going on. They don't understand the phase that they're in, so they can't respect the phase that they're in, and so they're never able to move through that phase and make it to the next one. So these are the general 4 phases. Now, I came up with these. There's probably like 10 phases, but I categorize them into 4 just to keep things simple. The first phase is the initiation phase. The second phase is the purging phase. The third phase is the integration phase. And the fourth phase is the embodiment phase. We're going to break them down one by one. So as I walk you through the phases today, I want you to start paying attention to where you're currently at, like which one of these phases actually resonates with you. Because once you understand that, then you're able to know what step to take next. So phase 1 is the initiation phase. You're going throughout life and you're just kind of on autopilot. And then all of a sudden you realize, hey, this isn't working for me. I want something to change. So you suddenly have awareness that you want to change something about yourself or something about your life. And you start working towards that. So that's initiation. You start initiating the transformation. So the initiation phase looks like, I want to change. All of a sudden you realize, hey, I want to learn how to paint. All of a sudden you realize, hey, I want to actually set up that business. Hey, I want to actually go for that promotion. I want to change what I'm attracting in my love life, whatever it is. You realize that something in your life needs to change. And so usually what happens then is you start consuming content, for example, like fitness related content, if that's your goal, business related content, if that's your goal, and you start trying to put out feelers on how this change can actually happen for you. The key point with phase 1 is, although you're aware that you want to change, you're still attached 100% to the old self. First of all, you're too attached to the old self. And second of all, there's so much information online, you can get very overwhelmed on what steps to actually take. What I recommend everybody to do at the start of their journey is to come back into their body and to regulate and to kind of have this detox from external reality so they can tune into themselves and figure out what they should do. You're also addicted to the past, to your thoughts, and to your circumstances. Even the circumstances that you don't like, you're addicted to them because they're familiar. When you're in phase 1, the initiation phase, the most powerful thing you can do is to start mastering detachment. So I'm going to put down here what your priority is depending on what phase you're in. Your priority is detachment from your old reality, detachment from your old circumstances, detachment from the external in general, and then regulation and reintegration into your body, into your energy. Start doing things like meditation, anything to regulate your nervous system, like breath work, shifting, away from focusing on external reality to focusing on what's going on internally for you. That is the most important thing. And I'm going to give you a visual to help you with this. This is the mistake that most people make. They're here and they're super attached to everything outside of them. So let's say this is you and this is your energy field, okay? Here you're attached to news, you're attached to your relationship, you're attached to maybe certain foods, you're attached to scrolling. All of your energy essentially is getting drained and poured out into all of these things, maybe gossip, maybe like certain insecurities, certain worries, etc., etc. When you first start changing, the most powerful thing you can do is just flip this. So you take all that energy that you've been pouring into all of these distractions and all of these things that are taking you further away from yourself, and you decide, no, you know what? I'm going to call my energy back. I'm going to call my power back. and I'm going to master my attention and my energy. So you flip it and you just gain all your energy back. Every morning you can sit down and call your energy back, and also do an attention detox. This is so powerful. If you're familiar with any of my videos, or if you're in the community, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. But your consciousness, your creative life force energy is constantly being fed out to all of these things. Think about the amount of things throughout your life, throughout your day, maybe in the last week or the last month, that you're putting your attention on, that you're feeding into. You're energetically drained because you keep feeding your energy into these external things. And so in the initiation phase, you're just looking to come back into your body and to start releasing your addiction to the past and to the external and to your old way of thinking. So your number one priority should be to detach by coming back into your body, taking your attention, your energy, and your focus off everything outside you consistently, so that you can recharge your energy, your life force, and reintegrate back into your body. You might, after even you do an attention detox, get really specific then about what you're consuming, right? So you might want to cut out everything and then just reintroduce anything that's going to help you with whatever your goal is or whatever your next level is. So maybe you just consume content that's relevant and you keep it very limited instead of just distracting yourself with a million different things. All of that is part of the initiation phase. Key thing to know, in phase 1, you're starting to do this work and you don't really believe in it yet. You don't know if it's even going to work, but that's okay. You're just in phase 1. Your only job is to keep coming back into your energy, keep getting your focus back, keep reintegrating into your body. Phase 2 is the purge phase. So phase 1 is typically quite enjoyable. It's quite easygoing. Phase 2 is usually where people start to get confused and start to fall off and start to question themselves. Phase 2 is the purge phase. So energetically, what happens? Okay, phase 1, you start to come back into your body. You start to become self-aware. What happens when your energy and your consciousness is finally back in your body is the emotions that have been stored in your body for a long time surface for you to clear them. And so typically what happens in the purge phase is you will get triggered, you will get challenges, you will have obstacles thrown in your way, you'll have emotions, fears, insecurities. All of this stuff comes up so you can clear it as part of your cycle of transformation. So for a lot of people, and I see this a lot in my community, somebody comes in and they have this dream of starting a social media brand, and they go through phase 1. They are feeling really good. They're in their body. They're feeling regulated. They're feeling clear. They're feeling better. Maybe they're able to set a vision. They're gaining a lot of clarity. And then all of a sudden, this deep fear, this fear of being seen just comes to the surface. Maybe they got a nasty comment on their Instagram page, or maybe it just came out of nowhere and all of a sudden they're paralyzed by fear. This is part of the transformation cycle. And what I see so many people struggle with is they enter the purging phase and they resist what's happening, not realizing that it needs to happen so that they can complete the cycle of transformation and break it through to the next level. So here, doubt might be at an all-time high. You're still attached to old self and you're triggered. If you want to go to another segment in this reality, you need to become another self. Your frequency, your energetic frequency has to shift to be resonant with the frequency of the reality that you desire. And so what needs to shift is your attention, what you're focusing on, your emotions, your identity, your beliefs, your thoughts. All of these things make up your energetic frequency. And so what's happening in phase 1 is you're shifting your attention. You're moving your consciousness on that plane. What's happening in phase 2, the purge phase, is you're shifting the emotions that are stored within you. And you're also shifting parts of your identity. You can see how this is a necessary part of transformation. But because it's painful, because it's ugly, and because sometimes it doesn't logically make sense, like what's coming up could be so seemingly irrelevant compared to what you actually want. The problem is we resist when this happens because it's uncomfortable, because it's painful. When something is stored with pain, it's going to need to come up with pain. And so if you're in the purge phase, I want you to think of this like it's winter, right? You have to respect that you're in the purge phase. You have to respect that during this phase, your clarity will be low, fear will be high. Your priority in this phase is acceptance, and self-compassion. Stop resisting the stuff that's coming up. I know people who stay in the purge phase indefinitely because they stay judging what's coming up all the time. And they push it back down and they push it back down. And guess what? It doesn't go anywhere. It stays trapped inside you. So this part of you that's trying to be released, this insecure part, this part that's afraid of being seen, this part that's afraid of playing bigger, you know, these parts are coming up so you can let them go. But when you resist them, they will stay inside you. And your frequency then will never be able to actually shift because the frequency of this part of you is going to continue to live on inside you. And so then your reality will never be able to shift because you will never be resonant with the new reality so long as you keep this inside you by repressing it. I have 3 or 4 videos now on shadow work to help you with specific practices for the purge phase. But for this video, I just want you to know, are you in the purge phase? Are you suddenly overtaken by fear? Are you suddenly overtaken by insecurity? Has something triggered you? Have you reverted to a past version of yourself? These are all clues that you have entered the purge phase, and it is okay. It is a necessary part of your transformation. Give into it, surrender to it, and you will pass through it so much quicker. This is the work. This is the healing work. This is where you finally process and release, you know, the things that have happened to you in the past, your insecurities, the things that have been holding you back. And you can't skip this stuff. If only we could, but we can't. Phase 3 is the integration phase. How you know you're in the integration phase is you know a lot. You've learned a lot. You've become really self-aware. You've all of a sudden realized you have these fears, you have these triggers. Maybe you've processed a lot of them already. You've learned what you want and what you don't want. You've become more regulated. You know a lot, but you haven't actually been able to apply it and change anything. You don't know it to the point that it's actually changed you. That's how you know you're in the integration phase. It is time to apply what you know. And people get stuck in this phase because they keep learning, they keep gaining information, they keep watching content, they keep consuming things, but they don't apply anything. This phase is probably the phase that gets longed out the longest. What? It's probably the phase that gets stretched out the longest because people don't realize they're in the integration phase. They don't realize that the next step is not to learn more tools or techniques or to overanalyze or overthink anything anymore. It's to actually apply what they already know. The easiest hack I can give you on integration is in the moment application. Okay? In the moment. So let's say, for example, you know you have limiting beliefs around money. You know how to rewire your beliefs because maybe you watched my video on how to rewire your subconscious mind. So you know the process on how to rewire a belief. And yet you're walking around in life still speaking the same limiting narrative over yourself, still saying disempowering statements about money, still perceiving yourself and your money situation the same way because you haven't actually applied what you know. So in the moment application, what would this look like? Let's say you're going to pay for something. How you integrate what you've learned about changing your belief system about money, for example, is when you go to pay for something and you notice the limiting thought of, oh, I don't know if I should pay for this. That's really expensive, for example. You in the moment catch yourself and you apply what you know. Let's say you've been learning how to rewire a belief. And in that moment, when you say to yourself, this is too expensive, you go, oh, hold on a second, that's a limiting belief. And you go and do a rewiring process in your mind or in your notes or in your journal to actually apply this and integrate what you've learned. If you think you're in the integration phase, you can write down everything that you know and then ask yourself, how have you not been applying this? And how can you now apply this to your life? Again, this is going to be case dependent, depending on what you've been working on or working through. But if you've been learning, for example, nervous system regulation, and you know when you become dysregulated, you know how to regulate, are you actually doing it in your life? Can you catch yourself in the moment when you become dysregulated and actually change your behavior? This is how you integrate everything that you have been learning. So you want to take responsibility for your programming, for your belief system, for the way that you're speaking to yourself, for the way that you're speaking about your situation, for the attitude that you have every day, for your reactions, okay? And the way that you're focusing on things. Take full responsibility for that and then look at, does this actually align with what I now know is best for me? And if it doesn't, then change things. You merge. Integration is basically merging your awareness with your actual life, with your embodiment, with how you're showing up in the world. Basically, what happens when you start integrating is you're beginning to show yourself that the past is gone and that you're now stepping forward as this new version of you, that you're going to do things in a new way, that you're going to think differently, that you're going to speak differently, that you're going to believe differently, and that it's safe to do that. You're showing physically, you're showing your nervous system, you're showing your body, this is the new way of doing things, and this is safe. This is now normal. So if we go back to what I said earlier about changing your frequency, you change your attention, you change your emotions, you change your identity, you change your beliefs, your thoughts, and you change your actions as well, I suppose, is the kind of end result. So when we look at you changing your overall energy and frequency, in the first phase, you changed your attention, you shifted your focus. In the second phase, you shifted your emotions and parts of your identity. And in the third phase, you're taking responsibility for shifting your beliefs and your thoughts. And now in the fourth phase, you're shifting your actions. Phase 4 is embody. So this is the final phase because this is the physical phase. This is like the healing era is over and it's time to just be this new version of you in this new level. So the embodiment phase is essentially just expressing the new self through what you're actually physically doing and the actions that you're taking. You may think this is pretty natural and intuitive, but I have had clients before who got stuck in the identity of healing, of working on myself. So they got stuck in the purging phase, in the trigger phase, in releasing their emotional wounds, or they got stuck on rewiring their beliefs or trying to apply and integrate things. They were healing for so long or working on themselves for so long that it became their identity to be a work in progress, when actually they had done enough inner work. They had released enough emotional blocks. They had shifted enough beliefs to finally be able to say, okay, I am the new self. It's really important that you notice when you're actually ready to graduate from the identity of healing and just be the new self that you've been working so hard to become. Because if you're trying to unlock a new level in life, the level that you're trying to unlock probably can't be unlocked by the version of you who's still in the identity of healing. You can't be in the identity of winning, of slaying life, and in the identity of healing. The two don't correspond, okay? Realize when it's time to finally open your wings and stop being a caterpillar and allow yourself to be a butterfly. Guys, no, I can't draw to save my life. That is kind of... The embodiment phase is the butterfly phase. So what does this look like practically? Let's move on. So you're in the new level because you're being the new self. A lot of people get stuck on entering this phase because what happens is they stay in integration, or they don't want to fully embody the new self yet because they're still looking at reality and waiting for permission. Do not wait for permission. You'll know when you're ready to go into this phase when you start getting into a bit of a rut. You start feeling like, you start feeling stuck and you start feeling frustrated with your circumstances. When you get into a rut where you're frustrated with your circumstances and you're feeling stuck, it's because you're looking too much at external reality and you're waiting for that to tell you that you're ready to spread your wings and be your new self. And the only fix to that is to accept the circumstances as they are and decide you're going to fully be the new self now, even if you can't see anything outside you that's changed yet. And as soon as you do that, as soon as you decide that you are going to change yourself, regardless of your circumstances, that's when your circumstances will shift to match that change that you've made internally. Because as within, so without. So the embody phase, if you don't decide to go into it, you're going to end up in a rut because you've realized that you want more. You have all this awareness, but you're not giving the new self the opportunity to be expressed. So your life can start to feel very, very suffocating. If you feel suffocated, it's because it's time for you to step forth and start embodying the new self. regardless of what your circumstances look like. So here you want to start aiming for a big vision. You want to start setting new standards. You want to start taking bold action and start throwing yourself outside of your comfort zone. Start doing all the things that this next level version of you would do. And that next level will unlock for you so quickly. These are the 4 phases to unlock your next level. The reason why you're not unlocking your next level is because you're resisting. You're in one of these phases. You don't know what's going on and you're resisting it because you're not aware of what's happening and how it's actually necessary and part of your transformation journey, okay? So the initiation phase is you've started your transformation. You've said, hey, I want to change something in my life. Maybe you've started watching content, you've started writing goals down, and you know you're in the initiation phase because you just got a surge of energy to say, you know what, I'm going to change this thing. I want to go to this next level. So the transformation has been initiated. My recommendation for you to prioritize in the first phase, the initiation phase, is detachment and regulation. So coming back into your body, mastering your attention, calling your energy back, calling your focus back. That is the priority for phase 1. Phase 2 is the purge phase. Now again, the purge phase might happen later. You might go into integration first, but typically it's the second phase. Phase 2 is the purge phase. You know you're in the purge phase when you feel like hell, when you feel terrible, when you feel triggered, when you feel emotional, when all your traumas are coming up, when all your deepest, darkest fears are coming up, right? When the most insecure parts of you are coming up. It's okay. It's part of the cycle. You're just in the purge phase. So my recommendation when you're in the purge phase is to accept what's happening. Have self-compassion. Do things like inner child healing. Do things like shadow work. I have videos on those. I will leave those below. In the first purge phase, it's so important that you just respect where you are and accept where you are. And it will pass. You have to allow these things to process and release from your energy. Phase 3, again, this could be your phase 2, but phase 3 is the integration phase. You know you're in the integration phase when you have all this knowledge, have all this insight, have all this awareness, but you haven't applied any of it. Nothing's actually really changed. So in phase 3, my recommendation for you to prioritize is becoming radically honest with yourself about how you're not applying what you know and what you've already learned from your journey. So for example, you have to catch yourself in the moment speaking a limiting belief or thinking a limiting belief. You have to catch yourself in the moment reacting in a way that you know is no longer aligned with you. It's in the moment application of what you know. So you're teaching yourself, you're teaching your body, hey, things have changed now, so that you can actually internalize what you've learned. And phase 4 is the embody phase. You know you're ready for the embody phase when you're getting really frustrated with your current reality. And you're waiting for reality to tell you that you can be this new person. And maybe you get into a rut. Maybe you feel really stuck. It's because you're not realizing that you're in the embody phase and you need to accept that it's time for you to embody this new self without waiting for reality to show you that, okay? So obviously, my recommendation for the embody phase is to allow yourself to express fully the new self, even if there's no evidence in your reality to show you that you are the new self yet. You're leading this dance. So you show up as the new self, you take bold action, you set a big vision, you set new standards that excite you. You fully allow yourself to express the new self, and then, and only then, can reality finally express that back to you. Usually, the embody phase, disclaimer, you jump before you're ready. There's still going to be parts of you that aren't fully ready to embody the new self. But by embodying the new self, by getting outside your comfort zone and finally stepping forward as this new version of you, you will rewire those parts of you. You will show those parts of you, hey, this is what we're doing now. This is our new reality now. And then that will be your new reality. So please, next time you're confused on this journey of transformation that you're on this journey to the next level that you want to go to, come back to this video and identify where you're at, and then accept the phase that you're in so that you can actually prioritize what you need to prioritize. All of us want to go straight to the embody phase, but you need to respect the phase that you're in. Every phase of transformation is valuable. So when you respect the season that you're in, like it's just like nature, everything is the same, as within, so without. You have seasons as well. And transformation happens in a cycle in different phases. So you have to respect the season that you're in so that you can get the lessons that you need to get so that you can keep moving and finally complete the cycle of transformation. Your next level is not going to be found in avoidance, in only picking and choosing, the phases that you prefer. So I hope this helped you gain awareness as to where you might have been confused. I hope it helped you identify where you currently are so you can keep moving and you can finally unlock your next level in life.